Leafs Nation, we know the rumblings with the Toronto Maple Leafs over the next week are going to be absolutely insane with free agency happening on Friday, a couple days from now. But as you guys know, the last couple days has been draft time for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the NHL overall. And it was a very busy day for the Toronto Maple Leafs on draft day. Lots of picks to go through. And that's what we're here to discuss. That's what I mean. I told you guys I was going to be doing a video for this in yesterday's Blue Jay video. If you didn't see that, go check that out, guys. It was a kind of a season review, off-season preview for the Blue Jays heading into the off-season. But we're here to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs draft class of 2020. Now, I will tell you right away that some of the names I might butcher because they're pretty insane. And for people going crazy, because not a lot of the guys, play in the OHL or WHL or Q or the Q or even in the US for that matter, you got to realize that means they were all in Europe and they're playing right now. Guys in the CHL right now and guys in the US aren't playing yet. So these guys are already getting reps and already doing good things, all right? But let's start off with the very first pick for the Toronto Maple Leafs. At 15th overall, they pick Rodion Amirov, obviously from Russia, and instant backlash from Leaf fans, right? Because you get a winger and people are like, you don't need a winger. What's the problem here? You need defense. There's this guy still available. Those are fans talking, right? And let me rephrase that. Those are amateur GMs talking. And you have Kyle Dubas, the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. You have the entire coaching staff, the entire scouting staff, the assistant coaches, the assistant GM, everybody coming together and seeing these kids. They made the choice on this Rodion Amirov kid. And I understand. Like, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, left winger, yeah, not a big guy. Okay, well, I'm not really sure exactly what you're going to get. Do we not realize that the Leafs prospect system right now isn't really the biggest? And people are like, what are you talking about? They have this guy. Well, no, not on the NHL squad. We're talking minors, like OHL, in junior. Where's their top-notch prospects? Well, they have Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Little. That's nice. Those are defensemen. You have Nick Robertson. He's now a Toronto Maple Leaf. So in the prospects, you don't have much. And who knows? It could be a trading asset of the future. I don't know. But what I look at when I look at Rodion Amirov, he is playing at the highest level this year. And yes, people look at last season and say, oh, he had 2 assists and, that was it. The guy was terrible. He's garbage. Why are you drafting him with the 15th overall? He also has 5 points in 10 games so far this year. So clearly, he's gotten better. And I'm not mad with the pick as much as a lot of people are, because I'm just sitting back and wait and see. Are these guys going to jump? Because what if they drafted a defenseman? Would they help us in 2020, 2021 season? No. Would they help us in 2021, 2022 season? Probably not. The only reason they might is because if the Leafs D-core is still that bad. You picked the best player available, in their opinion, which was Rodion Amirov, the left winger out of Russia. And that's all there is to it. Let's go to the second round. All right? They pick up Ronnie Hirvonen. Like I told you guys, I was probably going to butcher these at some point. A center, and if I'm not mistaken, he's not a very big guy. But again, what depth do you have at center position? A young guy playing at, I think it's Carpet, which is an incredible, one of the top teams over there in Russia. Or no, he's in Sweden. I don't know. There's so many damn leagues over there. I don't know. But all I know is that this kid is a centerman. And again, you drafted a winger, you drafted a centerman now. People are already losing their mind, Leaf fans, right? Leaf fans are already pulling their hair. You still didn't draft a defenseman. What's going on? Why not a goalie? They're starting to freak out, right? And I look at these 2 picks and I'm like, I don't know who they are. I'm going to be blatantly honest with you guys. I don't know Amirov. I don't know Hirvonen. I've never seen the guys play. So for me to sit here and say that was a terrible pick, well, I mean, I don't know them, so how am I going to say that? Just because I don't know how to pronounce their name 100%, or I've never seen them play, instantly they're garbage. When you've heard of a name and you can pronounce a name, you want him, and he plays a position you like. You draft from positional need in the later rounds. Or even third round or later, you can do that. You draft the best player available, because if it doesn't pan out in your organization and you have a surplus of that, you can use it as trading assets. That's what you can do, right? Look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've traded, you guys can let me know who we got in the Kapanen trade, the young Swede, right? That was a place they had a lot of talent there. So they traded it for a place of need, right? And for the Leafs, these guys may never touch Leaf ice. They may never touch NHL ice. I don't know. All I know is that I'm happy to have these guys here, build up the prospect pool again, and see what happens, right? It's good. It's great to see. Now, this is when Leaf fans start to get a little happy, all right? With the 64th overall pick, Topi Niemela, all right? The Finnish guy, and people see right-handed defenseman and instantly plan the parade. Here comes the Stanley Cup. Well, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, this guy ain't going to jump into your lineup next week. He's not going to jump in there next year. He'll probably be 2 or 3 years down the road, probably even 3 or 4 years down the road. He's a third-round pick. Again, guy playing at a very high level. I think that's Carpet. I could be totally wrong where these guys are playing. All I know with the 64th overall pick is the Leafs traded down to get that third pick, and that was a really good job by Kyle Dubas and the coach and the whole team there trading down, because what big names were still available? People be like, well, this guy, no. You need a surplus of picks. You need to rebuild this pool a little bit, because you look at the last few drafts, there's nobody really significant other than guys like Nick Robertson. So you got to try and build that up. And that's what they're doing. Right-handed defenseman, Topi Niemela, fantastic pick. I personally, not because of the right-handed defenseman, just kind of the way he plays. I've watched a few things about him, and I like it. I like the pick for Niemela there in the early goings of the third round. Now, this is where Leaf fans start to go bonkers, right? Fourth round, they go after, I'm going to butcher the snot out of his name, but I'm going to try my best. Goaltender, Arthur, because I don't think it's Arthur, because there's no H in it. If it does pronounce Arthur, then I apologize. Okay, here we go. Akhtiamov. I could be totally wrong with that. It probably is completely botched, but again, it's me learning these names. Russian names are kind of tricky. You notice they didn't draft any Americans or Canadians yet, guys. See what I'm talking about? This is what their plan was. And this goaltender, as much as the numbers, the leagues that he played in, maybe not the top-notch leagues, but the numbers that he has in the leagues he has played, pretty damn spiffy. I'm seeing a 920 save percentage. I'm seeing a 925 save percentage. I'm seeing that kind of stuff, and I'm like, those are pretty damn good numbers for an 18, 19-year-old kid. Okay, I like what I see. And again, Leaf fans love the pick, right? There was a lot of talk about this pick, and they really got a good value for him. You're supposed to go a little bit earlier in the draft, and I like that pick for the goaltender in the fourth round. Now we're going to start to speed up a little bit here because, again, the farther we go down, the prospect, how much information about the guy is kind of limited. But William Villeneuve, I think that's how you pronounce it. Villeneuve, again, right-handed defenseman out of this. It looks like St. John Sea Dogs. So again, a guy who's not going to be playing right now because there's no season right now for the Q. But right-handed defenseman with 122nd pick in the NHL draft. Hey, that's 2 right-handed defensemen and a goalie in your last 3 picks. Okay, I like what I'm seeing. Let's keep going here. They go. I'm gonna butcher this one, but I just want to butcher it because it just looks right. Dmitry Ovechkinov. I like that. I really like that. Again, a center guy. Don't really know much about him. But again, adding depth to the player pool. Again, guy playing overseas that's playing right now, so there's good news there. You add to the center pool. You can never have, and the way I look at drafting, you can never have too many centers and defensemen. That is my opinion when it comes to the draft, right? Because you look at centers and look at guys like William Nylander. Right? There were times where he was looked at as a center. But if you draft a center, they can always be a winger. Andreas Johnsson was at one point a centerman. They moved him to the wing. Things like that do happen. And so when you draft them as a center, they can move to the wing. So a guy like this, again, don't know much about him, but people like the pick. People keep saying it was a steal of a pick. I'm reading a couple Oiler fans are not too happy with the Leafs taking guys like all these steals, as they were saying. So if that's the case, great. They know something I don't. But all I know is that they're stockpiling. And I think the Leafs had, what, 7 or no, they had like 9 picks in the draft or something like that. Maybe even 10. That's a lot. And they were, obviously, quite a few of them were in the later rounds, but great stuff. Stockpile the shelves. You got to keep doing that, all right? Let's keep going here. Where are we here? Vetti Miettinen was the 168th overall pick. Again, he's 160, he's a right winger. Yeah, again, you drafted a left winger, right, in Amarov. All right, you got the right winger. You drafted 2 centers, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. You see what's happening? They're broadening everything. They're giving a little bit of everything, kind of splotching things together, okay? Another Finnish guy playing overseas, so that's great news there. And the key that I read online, when it comes to players playing in the CHL, and actually, yeah, in the CHL, you have 2 years to realize, do we want to sign them or not, right? And you look at guys overseas, you have the rights. Remember, if anybody who's a hardcore Leaf fan remembers his name, Martins, I think it's Zirkles. I can't remember. They could be butchered that one. But if you remember the name, it's like a 3rd-round pick a while back for the Leafs. How long did they actually have his rights for? I'm pretty sure they didn't end up signing him. But they kept his rights. It never really panned out, so they just didn't sign him. So it broadens your horizons as well as they're playing right now. They're all taking that next step into these bigger leagues. And you're like, hey, let's see what happens. And they're playing hockey right now. So that's what I like to see, all right? Now, in the later picks, these are the things that I like to see, okay? Going into the very late picks, and I want to touch on those really quickly because I'm not going to go too much with them, all right? Let's go to Axel Rindell. What is this? Right-handed defenseman. 3 right-handed defensemen in the draft so far for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, guy playing overseas, so you never know what you're going to get. But again, we're at 177. We really don't know what these guys are going to turn out to be, if anything at all. All right, now let's go through these real quick. Joe Miller, a center with the 180th pick. Right-handed defenseman, 4th one. John Fusco? Something like that. All right, with the 189th pick. And then we go Wyatt. I was going to say Shignoth, but that's totally wrong. If you guys can let me know some pronunciations for these names and kind of give me that'd be fantastic. That'd be great. He's a center. Again, another guy. That was the final pick for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Well, they had one more, actually, because they traded that one pick. Ryan Treverberg. These names, I swear, they're very tricky. And he played with the junior Canadians. So, I mean, that's not, what I've learned with those later picks, right? And this is, again, kind of the same thing as overseas. A lot of those guys are planning on going to play in the States for colleges. Harvard, Boston College, things like that. What's so good about those is that's kind of works the same way as the other one. 4 to 5 years before, hey, we want to get you on a deal, right? Look at a guy like Dakota Joshua, a guy the Leafs had a while back. Again, never ended up signing. I think they might have traded his rights or whatnot, but it gave them the opportunity. Drafting guys in the CHL that you have no idea what they're going to turn out to be is kind of a risk in a sense because you only have like 2 years before, hey, here's a contract or we don't want to keep you around. When you have those other options, it's great to have. The Leafs stockpiled shelves with guys overseas who are either playing in men's leagues or it's just going to give them time to grow and see what happens. Look at a guy like Andreas Janssen. He's a perfect example of that 7th-round pick. Giving him some time to grow, he comes over and makes an impact. Same with guys in the U.S., in the college system in the U.S. A lot of great things there. So yes, people are going to be mad because the Leafs didn't go after this guy or this guy or this guy. Well, they clearly had a plan going into the 2020 NHL draft. And if I had to give them a grade, like a letter grade, for what this draft looks like to me personally, just a fan looking at the numbers, looking at some highlights, and looking at the players they picked and the positions and everything, it's hard for me to say because you don't know most of these guys. A lot of them are overseas. If they drafted a guy like like Jamie Drysdale, who was a guy I was extremely high on, and I really wish the Leafs traded up for him or something, but that didn't end up happening. Of course, he went to the Anaheim Ducks. There's lots of video on him. There's not a lot of video on the other guys, like the goaltender we saw. I went to look up videos on him. There's like 2, and they're one-game highlights, and I'm like, there's not much here. So all you can really go off of is numbers. And, you know, obviously scouts have been over there, and they've seen these guys firsthand. So they know what they're all about. So yes, what grade would I give them? Going off of what I've read and what I've seen, I'm going to give them a B to a B minus. That's kind of my range. For the fact of this, talent-wise, we have no idea what these guys will be. There's no sure one like, hey, this guy's going to be good. We don't know. We have a feeling, hey, this guy looks pretty good. His numbers are good. He's playing well in a big league. Okay, that looks great. But we have absolutely no clue with what these guys are going to play out to be. Yes, would I be, crazy to say Amarov is going to be an impact player for the Leafs one day? No, I wouldn't be crazy to say that. He was your first round 15th overall pick. He's playing in a men's league. He's got 5 points in 10 games to start his season. So he's doing very well. But as for guys down the list here, right, like a guy like John Fusco, or the easiest name, Joe Miller, will they ever pan out? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know how many of these guys are going to pan out, if any of them are going to pan out. But all I know from this draft, the Leafs stockpiled their shelves with a lot of different aspects. Whether you got a little bit of size, whether you got forwards, defensemen, goaltending. So you add that new guy. I have to try and pronounce his name again. Is that really what I'm going to try and do right here? Well, let's try it. Akhtiamov. It sounds good. Whether I got it right, probably not. You have him. You have a guy like Ian Scott. You have a guy like Joseph Wall. Those 3 guys are now your little prospect pool of goalies. Will any of them pan out? Goaltenders are so hard to get a gauge on. Some are great AHL goalies. Some are great in the NHL, but not in the AHL. It just happens that way. Look at a guy like Garrett Sparks. He won a Calder Cup and was like MVP and was fantastic with the Marlies. And I said it right from day one. He won't be a good NHL goaltender because he's too scrambly in the net, and that won't work in the NHL. And clearly, that was right. How will these type of guys play out? The one thing I did say about Akhtiamov, when I did look at his play, the very minimal video that I have, he's very sound in the net. He doesn't move around a lot, and that's something that I really like in a goalie because it seems like 1, they're confident, 2, they have a good read on the puck, and number 3, they're not scrambling. They know the right moves to make. It may sound stupid what I just said, but all I'm trying to say is that he reminds me of that Braden Holtby, and that's it. If you watch Braden Holtby, he never looks rattled. He looks calm, cool, and collected. If you give up 2 or 3 goals, he's in there making an easy save, makes it look easy. And that's what I saw from Akhtiamov. You guys can let me know. I mean, my goodness, crazy. But all I know is that I'm going to say, like I said, B minus to a B because we don't know what these guys are going to be. A lot of video, we have no idea what they're going to look like. But they stockpiled the shelves with a lot of different kinds of players, a lot of different kinds of positions. And you noticed they didn't, if I'm not mistaken, they did not draft a single left-handed defenseman. So people yelling that they weren't going after defensemen. Oh, we need right D, blah, blah, blah. They got 3 of them. They didn't draft any left-handed defensemen because we know they have a surplus of that. Well, they have a surplus of forwards too. What, you're going to not draft a forward and draft all defense the entire draft? That's just ludicrous. And not the singer. So all I know, it was a positive draft in my opinion, but now is where the real fun begins for the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. You did what you needed to do on draft days. You stockpiled the shelves with some young players. Now, NHL talent for this year. Free agency opens on Friday. We've heard names like Radko Gudas, Wayne Simmons. We know Jason Spetz is going to be back. There's lots of things rumbling around. Trade market's going to be booming for the Leafs. We heard from Kyle Dubas. It seems like Anderson ain't going anywhere. So your guys' guess is as good as mine what this team is going to be doing come free agency there on Friday. But it won't be a free agent frenzy, I don't think, just for the fact of COVID and the money situation. It might be a little slower, but it might come flying fast. I don't know, because people want guaranteed money, and they get some guaranteed money. They'll take it right away. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but it all starts on Friday. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and overall like the draft for the Toronto Maple Leafs, smack the like button. I do appreciate that. If you don't like the draft for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Explain to me why in the comments below, and please, and please don't say, well, they shouldn't have taken this guy, they should have taken this guy, that's why it was a terrible... No, please, no. Give me an actual reason why it was a bad draft for the Toronto Maple Leafs, if you think so. If it's a good draft, let me know why. All right? Twitter is down below for myself, guys. Follow up, send me a DM, know that great stuff. Also, the Instagram link is down in the description, so follow up there if you've not done so already. And I will talk to you guys, I'm assuming at some point on Friday, because something's bound to happen on day one. Leafs edition free agency kicks off on Friday. And as for the Jays and Raptors, I don't know, at some point in time, when free agency trades start booming for those two teams, because it's bound to happen at some point, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. 20-minute video. I think it was a 20-minute video yesterday, too. Crazy. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys then.